Today on Inspire Canada, Ty Marion, a graduate of Ashworth College, has a diploma in nutrition, diet, and health science with honors. He'll be discussing pink Himalaya salts, commonly promoting health, claiming such to improve your respiratory diseases, balance your body's pH, improve sleep, regulate blood sugar, even increase libido. Welcome to the show, Ty Marion. Great to have you on here.
Thanks
How
for
you
having
doing
me,
today?
Johnny.
How are you?
Good, I'm good. Just enjoying the sun in a bit.
That's good. That's good. Today, the doctors recommend you to stay away from sodium, and now you're saying that Himalaya salt is beneficial to for your the water in your cells. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's beneficial overall. For the importance is hydration. Everybody needs to be hydrated, and with the Himalayan salt or the Celtic salt, which I prefer, being 92 minerals, pretty well one of the highest minerals you can get. Himalayan salt comparable with about 82 minerals, and they're such small amounts that they don't really matter anyway. So it's the main ones that you're concerned about is the elements that you want are sodium, potassium, magnesium. All these micronutrients are in the salt that you get from the sea. Now, when you get table salt, the stuff that your doctor talks about staying away from, he's not telling you to stay away from Celtic salt, but he's not telling you to take Celtic salt or Himalayan salt. All he's telling you is to limit or avoid table salt because it causes high blood pressure. And that is true if you're using table salt. And the reason why that's happening, because table salt only consists of two elements, sodium and chloride. And when they get the salt from the sea or wherever they get it from, they take that salt and they bleach it, first of all, to make it nice and white. And then they add some binding chemicals, some anti-binding chemicals, so the salt crystals don't stick together and you can have fluent salt to sprinkle on everything that you eat. That salt is just not going to do anything for you. It's going to pass right through your cells. It's not going to allow water to penetrate into your cells to hydrate you. And that's where the problem is. And a little story I'll give you really quickly is about the four guys that went into the desert on a hiking excursion, and they bring lots of water with them because they're in 100-degree weather, and they're finding that they're not able to get to their distance without having fatigue or absolutely passing out. And they figured out what's going on is that they're drinking lots of water, but the water isn't getting into their cells to make them hydrated. So what they do is they put in some Celtic salt into their water, or carry it with them in a little pouch. They put it under their tongue and they drink their water, and they find that they can travel farther distance with the salt in their water, because it's now getting into their cell and keeping them hydrated, and they can walk further in the hot sun.
Explain 34 trace minerals in the Celtic sea salt compared to the 84 trace minerals in the Himalaya salt, pink salt.
Well, there's not much different. The pink Himalayan salt and the Celtic salt have pretty well the same minerals in it. The Celtic salt has 92 and compared to 82, and those 10 that were missing from the Celtic to the Himalayan salt are, like I said, they're so minute that they don't really matter. All you're concerned about is the Celtic salt having the highest sodium, potassium, magnesium content. And those minerals are going to help your water get into your cells and hydrate you. And also, I'm missing a couple. There's potassium, which is very, very important, and zinc. All those minerals are going to allow the water to proliferate your cell walls and get into the cells and hydrate you. So, and that's where you want to be. And it's only about a quarter teaspoon a day that you need. It's not abundance of salt, and that's all your body requires. You don't need to salt your food. If you prefer salt on your food, use this kind of salt, not the table salt. Table salt is so I wouldn't say corrosive, but it is corrosive. That's where we get our salt for our roads. That's the same stuff pretty well that you're eating. It's sodium and chloride. There's nothing, no other minerals in it. It's not doing your body any good other than they're very, very harsh chemicals, and they're hard on your body. Mind you, sodium's essential to the body. Chloride, that's how you make hydrochloride for your stomach. That's stomach acid comes from chloride, which is in the salt. It's needed for the body, but in the right proportions and in the right. You don't want salt that's been. They dig it out of the Windsor salt mine. They bleach it and then they put it through a process that brings that salt to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit, and it just totally takes out anything that's in the salt other than the sodium and the chloride, which aren't good for your body. And that's why the doctors say to stay away from that kind of salt. But they don't tell you to use this kind of salt because of all the wonderful things that this does. And that's why I'm having this talk, to try to educate people to go this way and implement salt into your diet every day. Just a quarter teaspoon. Try it out for a week and see, especially if you have swollen legs, swollen ankles from water retention, or you're feeling that you just feel like you're squishy and you're holding water back. It's because it's not getting in your cells. It's just sitting in your blood, going through your bloodstream, and it's actually causing havoc. Too much water isn't good, just as much as not enough water. So you have to have a happy balance there. Everybody's different depending on your activity level. If you're a couch potato, you're not going to need that much. If you're an athlete and you're sweating all the time, you need to replace. Don't forget, salt, perspiration. If you ever lick your arm when you're sweating, it tastes like salt. That means that salt isn't getting into your cells and helping the water stay there. You're tasting it because you're perspiring it. And I'm sure if you taste your pee, it would taste like salt also. So what you're doing is just flushing your sodium out of your body. And once you start flushing the sodium out of your body, you're going to pass out on the ground because it's like the spark of your engine. If you shut the spark off, you can't move forward. Without sodium in your cells aren't going to function. You're not going to have that spark, and you're going to get lightheaded, and you're going to, because it's such a, it's a mineral. Without the sodium as a mineral in your body, you can't function. So it's important to have sodium, not the word salt, sodium. And that's where and that's where you get your sodium from. The Celtic salt is the best.
Now explain the Celtic salt has 13% trace moisture compared to 84% trace minerals for Himalayan salt, pink salt.
Yeah, the sodium levels, it's usually 30% sodium and 50% chloride. That's what comes from just salt, and there's no other minerals involved. The 92 minerals that are in Celtic salt, like I said, they're 30% sodium, 50% chloride in that, but there's also another 80-something minerals like potassium and magnesium, manganese, zinc. There's tons of these minerals that your cells also require that you're not going to get with table salt.
So the sodium in the salt is providing all these essential minerals.
Now, in the Celtic salt, yes, but not in your normal table salt. You're getting 2. In the Himalayan, you're getting 82, and in the Celtic, you're getting 92. But the 10 between, that's what I'm saying. Either or Celtic, or I prefer Celtic when I can find it. Himalayan's a little more easier to come by. I just don't like where it's grown. It's grown more in China and in the mountains and the Himalayan mountains. But the Himalayan mountains spread right across Asia. So anything coming from the Himalayan mountain doesn't necessarily mean it's in China, because it spreads right across the whole Asian continent. So it's other countries other than China that make Himalayan salt, and it might be okay if it comes from, I don't know, another place around China that's close to the mountain, but not China. China's been known to take the salt like that and do just like what we do and turn it into something that it's not supposed to be. They want it the way it comes out of the ground or out of the sea. That's why Celtic salt comes from the sea. They scoop it out and they dry it in the sun, and what you're left with is a salt that's wet. It's very dense. It's almost like sand. compared to your table salt that dissolves like nothing. This stuff's a little more heavy, it's more coarse, and it works well with the body a lot easier for the purpose of actually getting into your cells. That's the bottom line. You got to get the sodium and these minerals into your cell. It's like a gate. If you don't have the proper sodium to open that gate to let all the other nutrients flood into the cell to hydrate you, it's just going to pass right along the cell. The gate's not going to open, and then you're going to find yourself dehydrated. I don't care how much water you drink. And that's the excuse you get from everybody. How much water do you drink a day? And they say, well, I can't drink water. I'm peeing all the time. And I'm driving in my car. I can't be stopping every 2 seconds. Or they'll give you another excuse of why they can't drink. It makes my ankles bloated. Well, that's telling me right there that it's not getting into the cell. Just like the guys that were in the desert going and they're passing out and getting lightheaded because they don't have enough sodium in the cell to open the door to let the water flush into the cells like it needs to be hydrated.
Explain saltpeter. I heard that term, saltpeter. What is that?
That's I have no idea. It's something you put on your peter and makes it. I don't know.
Okay, I thought I'd ask you.
Maybe you put it under your tongue to revive you or something. I don't know. I don't know what saltpeter is. It wasn't in the manual. But,
now, how much do you take of salt, Celtic or Himalayan salt per day? A teaspoon, which equates to how much?
about a half to a teaspoon. I kind of build myself up to a flat teaspoon per 1 liter of water.
Now, when do you take it? In the morning or through the course of the day? Or
that's a very good question, John. I would think it really doesn't matter. If you know that you're going to be out in the sun all day, or you're going to be working out and you're going to be perspiring a lot, because when you perspire, don't forget, you're losing the water out of your body. And like I said, if you taste it, it's going to taste like salt. So you're losing sodium. That has to be replenished. If you don't replenish the sodium, which is an electrolyte, potassium's an electrolyte, magnesium, these are very important minerals for the electrolytes. It's like the spark of your body. No electrolytes, no electricity, your body can't function properly. And that's basically what it comes down to. So the time of day, it depends on what your activity is. So if you're going to know you're going to be working out, you're going to be sweating, you got to replace that. So I, just for an insurance policy, it's usually my first bottle. I drink 3 of these a day. They're 1 liter. So I'll put a tablespoon of salt. I have it in here right now. And you sip on this, and that you're good for the day. That's my 1 liter. I drink 3 of those. The other one is apple cider vinegar, and the other one is lemon. And we'll talk about that on another episode.
Yes, I'd love to have you back on the next episode talking about lemon water and the benefits of lemon and all the vitamins too.
And apple cider vinegar, we could do those 2 together because they're kind of hand in hand. Actually, you could take all 3 together, and that's what I do. I take all 3 in a day, divide it up for each liter that I drink. So you don't get tired of the same boring water. One tastes like salt, it tastes good. One tastes like lemon, that tastes good. And the apple cider vinegar, that's a tablespoon I put in there. And it's an acquired taste you're going to have to get used to. Either you like it or you don't. So
why couldn't you make the batch with 3 ingredients, with the 3?
Yeah, I tried it before. It's kind of a funky taste.
Funky, right?
It's kind of funky taste, and you're putting all that into 1 liter. So it's more concentrated and it's funky taste because you mixed all 3 together. Whereas if you each have one each in a liter separate, that way you're guaranteed you're going to get your 3 liters in to drink, and you're going to have a different flavor each time you have a drink.
So now,
because if you mix it all in 1 bottle and had 1 liter, now what are you going to drink for the rest of the day? Now you got to drink plain water. So this way you can divide it up over 3 liters and have 3 different tastes, and you don't get tired of the taste. And it's good that, like I said, we'll talk about that, get more into apple cider vinegar in the next one. But by having that in the morning, it's going to prime your digestive system to send out the enzymes and function properly in the morning and set your day for the rest of the day. Your digestive system will be stimulated. And that's what the apple cider vinegar will do. And like I said, we'll talk about that one on the next one. It goes on, the benefits of apple cider vinegar. But we're talking about salt. And but that's pretty well all I got to say about the salt. There's no more about it than get your salt in. Don't be afraid of salt, and don't listen to your doctor. Listen to me.
The last question of the day: how many 3 liters a day? But how many times do you go to the
Well,
the loo?
that's what I'm saying. And as it's like anything, your body will accessulate. You hear that word in the summer when they say drink your water, so your body gets that adjustment that you're not sweating. Your body it's absorbed the water. You're hydrated. You're not going to be profusely sweating because you don't have any water in you. You don't have to drink it all at once. I spread it out through the whole entire day.
Right. So, do you go a lot to the washroom?
No, that's what I'm saying. The more you do this, you'll find the less that you're going, because you're utilizing the water that you're drinking. It's actually going somewhere in your body and being used, rather than just passing through. You drink it and it comes right back out. There's the issue, that you'll be going every 20 minutes.
That's me. That's me for sure.
Now you watch what happens once you incorporate the salt, and you keep track of it, and you see how many times a day you go right now. Try this experiment. Everybody can try this at home. Mark down every time you go to the bathroom. Bring a little pencil in the bathroom with you on a piece of paper, and just put a check mark every time you go, and you see how many times a day that you're going. Then incorporate the salt, and then see how many times a day that you're going. And over a period of time, you're going to find that you're going less and less and less a day. I could be at work all day and drink the salt water like this, and I don't go for an hour or even longer. I don't have the urge to go, because the water I got I used it up. There's nothing left to come out. The only time it comes out, if it ain't going anywhere, if you put it in, it's got to come out somewhere. It's got to be used. So if you're using up that water because of the salts allowing the penetration into the cell, now the cell can use the water and hydrate your skin, hydrate your blood, hydrate your body, hydrate your brain, hydrate all your organs in your body. That's where the water is going, where it's needed. But if it ain't going to get in there into the cells of all these different organs, then it's just going to pass right through your kidneys, and you're just going to pee it out.
What about people with overactive bladder? Would that the salts help with their?
Absolutely. And it's overactive because it's something stimulating it to make you want to keep going. But this is almost like salt is like a regulator of your body. It'll do it if you feed it what it needs. That teaspoon a day. It'll take that and it'll use it as it needs it, where and when it needs it. If you're deficient in sodium, because your doctor tells you not to have salt, you're going to start going back to where you were, where you're going to have inflammation, you're going to have water retention, you're going to feel bloated, your skin's going to be squishy, because you're retaining that water. You're not going to the bathroom. I mean, it's not a bad thing going to the bathroom, but if you're not going to the bathroom, then where'd that water go that you drank? It's sitting in your body. It's not being pushed out of the body through the kidneys. And the sodium will help your body do that. Overactive bladder is something that's causing your body to produce the urine and cause you to keep going many, many times a day. But for the average person that doesn't have that problem, you'll be fine. You'll find that you're not going that much after a period of time of doing this. But if you just try it and see if you notice a difference in your peeing patterns, and that's where the pH and all that stuff comes in. If you take pH strips and you pee on them, it'll give you a number, and that number you want to kind of have right around 7. It's in between alkaline or acidic. And if you keep your urine in an alkaline or just about 7, that's halfway. That's where you want to be. It's a sweet spot. If you go too far into the other direction, your urine now is acidic. If you have acidic urine, it can cause crystals. And you've heard of gout, you've heard of kidney stones and all those things. And that's how those things come about, is too much uric acid in your blood. And that's because your pH is out of whack. So by having the sodium in the way that you have it with the Celtic, and all the minerals and the potassium and everything that's all in there, it's going to regulate your pH in your urine. So it's a way to test it. It's cheap. You just buy a strip, you pee on it, it turns a certain color. You go to the chart, you see where you're at. If you're at the right level, then just continue what you're doing. If you're not at the right level and it comes in and your urine's orange colored, it's really yellowish, and your urine should be almost clear, not perfectly clear. It should have like a yellow tinge to it. If it's too clear, then you're drinking too much water. People don't know that. Look at your pee and see what color it is. If it's dark yellow, you're not having enough water. If it's super, super white, like clear, almost like a diamond crystal, then you have too much water. Too much water, you're pissing out your sodium that you want. Not enough sus and not enough water, you're not getting the sodium that you need. So there's got to be a happy medium in between how much you need. And like I said, everybody's different depending on your activity level, how much you're going to need for the day.
What about a bright yellowish orange? I find that when I have too much vitamins, it seems like
yeah. Well, if you saying now that you mentioned vitamins will cause your urine to discolor, definitely.
It's just expelling the extra, right?
Yeah, it's the byproducts of the vitamin, the crap that they put in them to hold it together, the glue, whatever. It'll show up in your urine. But that's temporary. That should only be in the morning when you took your vitamins. After you pee the 1 or 2 times, that should start clearing up if you're getting sufficient amount of water. And it'll start clearing up as the day goes by. If it doesn't, then you're not getting enough water. Just look at your pee. That's the best way to distinguish if you're drinking enough water is the color of your pee. If it's dark, you're not. If it's yellow and on the brighter side, then you are. And then just measure how much you're drinking a day. Some people, oh my God, I can't drink 3 liters a day. Well, maybe that's too much for you, depending on what you're doing. I like to walk 10 miles a day, so I drink 3 liters. If you sit on the couch all day, you might need 1 liter a day. So over drinking water isn't good. And there is a such thing as water intoxication. People don't know that. You can drink too much water and overload the cell. Then you're right back to where you started. Too much of anything is no good. Too much salt is no good. Too much of this kind of salt is no good. You can't just say, oh, because it's Celtic salt, I can eat all I want. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying salt is salt, sodium. But it's the other minerals that come along with the sodium that are going to, but you're going to get the benefits from the Celtic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do a follow-up with the lemon and the apple cider vinegar one day. We'd have to do a follow-up on that as well to increase your health and wellness, along with the Celtic and the Himalaya salt.
Yeah.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for joining the show here, and we'll get back to you on this.
Okay, John, thanks for having me on. And yeah, definitely, we'll do this again. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the good,
info,
nutrition and info on the diets and wellness.
All right.
Thank you.
See you, John.
Ciao.